So I want to get back to the Raptors for a second now that we got Billy back, because I was briefly discussing this with him before the game. But, one of the big stories, Frank, is the Kevin Durant situation. I mean, Kevin Durant last night plays, tears his Achilles, and, of course, it was his first game since early May when he suffered a calf injury against Houston in the playoffs. And he was under a lot of pressure from the players, from the management, from the coaching staff to get out there and play. And now what's being said is that he wasn't 100%, and he had to overcompensate for his previous injury, his calf injury, which now led to him tearing his Achilles. And him tearing his Achilles as a pending free agent could potentially cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. He was going to get a multi-year...
Yeah, but he can... I've seen some stuff,
yep.
And he could sue his team, right?
All right.
There was rumor, I'm going to just digress, because I agree with what you said.
Right.
There was rumor that Eric Lindros, who played for the Philadelphia Flyers, was pressured into coming back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what, Frank? That's a good point. Eric Lindros, remember, he was out with a concussion. He comes back for Game 7 of the East Final against New Jersey, and his first game back...
And destroyed him.
He takes the hit at open and center ice from Scott Stevens, and it did destroy him. And you know what else? It's the same thing now in the opposite way, but last year, Kawhi Leonard dealt with the same thing. Kawhi Leonard had a calf injury, played 9 games, didn't play. The team doctors for San Antonio cleared him to play. The players, the coaches, everyone wanted him to come back and play. He didn't come back and play because he said, I didn't feel right, and my doctors are telling me there's something wrong. I'm not playing. That ended his career in San Antonio because they could not deal with the fact that he was going against the team's wishes and the doctor's wishes. So Kevin Durant had the same option. He could have said, you know what, I understand team doctors are clearing me. I understand that you want me to practice, you want me to play. I'm not playing. He could have taken that stance. He didn't. He decided to play because he said today he felt pressure from the organization to play. So I asked Bill, when you were a general manager, did you ever have the same situation where you had players that were hurt and that, the team, the doctors, people pressured them to play? And Bill went through this with the Leafs in 2002. You remember, Matt Sundin and 6 other players were not healthy in the first round against Ottawa and did not play. They came back against Carolina in the East Final that year, and luckily none of them got hurt, but there is a ton of pressure on players when they are deemed healthy that they should be back out there and back in the lineup. Is that not right, Bill?
Yeah, and Pat Quinn, who was the coach at the time, we had won the first game in Carolina, and the second game, Pat says to me, Willie, the doctors have cleared all 6 of our guys. My philosophy is to put them back in the lineup. And he did, and we lost. The two may not be connected, but I think in his heart of hearts, Pat would sooner have spread them over 2 games. But because he was what he was, a man of principle, he put them all in. And I'm sure that Pat regretted that because we could have won that series against Carolina had we not given away the second game. Because we're 2-0 ahead and in the driver's seat, so to speak. But the one thing I admired from day one about Pat Burns and about Pat Quinn, the 2 coaches that I worked with, they gave Chris Broadhurst full authority to declare the player ready to play. And the trainer would not say they're ready to play unless the player told the trainer he was ready to play. So you wouldn't have a Kawhi Leonard situation because if the player said, Chris, I'm not ready to play, then Chris wouldn't go to Pat Quinn and say he's ready to play.
Right.
And I think that's what happened with Durant last night. There was pressure from ownership and from management for whatever reason for him to play. And that's not good. And that'll be a terrible lawsuit. The other thing you shouldn't overlook is Durant was the difference in last night's game. He had 9 or 10 before he left, and he was throwing them from center court.
Yeah, he was hitting long threes. What you just said, Bill, that's why they pressured him to play, because the Warriors know that Kevin Durant at 70% is much better than Kevin Durant at 0% not playing, and they know that their best chance to win, and really their only chance they thought maybe to win and come back from a 3-1 deficit was to have Kevin Durant out there. And they didn't care that he wasn't 100%. They just wanted him out there to give them that lift and give them those points and to play defense and do all the things Kevin Durant can do. So if you're the Warriors, are you villains because you want him out there even though he's not 100%? Or
no, but listen to me. All these guys are giants. They're tall guys, right?
Yep.
When you have a calf injury, the next level is going to be you're going to either have an ankle or you're going to tear your Achilles heel.
That's what happens.
You don't have strength in your calf.
Yep.
And if you're not well healed, you're looking for trouble.
The Achilles is directly attached to the gastrocnemius.
Oh, the Achilles heel, it came from the famous Greek mythology, right?
Who? Gastroc?
The name Achilles heel came from the famous Greek mythology, right? Where he died from a torn heel.
Yeah. And it's a nasty injury.
I tweaked mine, didn't tear it, and I could not walk for 2 fucking weeks.
And so Durant's initial injury that he suffered against Houston was the calf, and he comes back last night for the first time. He hadn't played a game in 5 weeks. He's only had 1 practice. And obviously, there's a very good chance he was overcompensating for that injury, which led to the tear of the Achilles.
I don't know if you saw
the tear of the Achilles for a basketball player could be career-ending.
Absolutely, it's catastrophic.
I agree with that. Last night, a guy by the name of Bob Murray, I think was his name.
Yeah, the general manager. Yep, of Golden State.
He was in tears.
He was.
Yeah, he obviously had been part of that decision. And he said, if you want to blame someone, blame me. Yep. No. It was somebody beyond you, Bob.
Well, I'll give him credit for standing up there and taking the bullets because everyone was thinking, how does this happen? How do you allow him to play and suffer this injury if he's not ready to go? And he went up there and he took the bullets for the team and said, I'm in charge of basketball operations. I cleared him. I said he could play. I told him to play. And then, he went on to say that Kevin's very misunderstood and that, people don't understand the desire that he has to go out there and be part of the team and play.